I'm Veronica White, and this is Psychology of Us, sharing the stories that matter. Catch us every month on Channel 31 or stream us anytime on CTV+. Welcome to Psychology of Us, the show where we explore the fascinating layers of human behavior and emotions. I'm Veronica White, and today we're diving into something many of us have experienced, or at least thought or heard about: beauty or aesthetic treatments. Now, whether it's a trip to the hair salon, a facial, or even a more elaborate transformation, beauty treatments go far beyond just looking good. They tap into our psychology in ways we often don't realize. So let's unravel what's really going on when we indulge in these rituals. First, let's talk about the physical versus psychological benefits. On the surface, beauty treatments improve our skin, hair, or body. They enhance what's already there. But what they often do is boosting our confidence and self-esteem. That's because when we feel we look our best, it often transforms how we interact with the world. It's not just vanity, it's biology. When we feel good about our appearance, our brains release dopamine and serotonin, the so-called feel-good chemicals. It's a literal happiness boost. This is why even something as simple as fresh haircut or facial can leave us feeling rejuvenated on the inside as well as the outside. But of course, it's not all about us as individuals. Societal beauty standards and media play a massive role in shaping how we perceive beauty and how we think we should look. Think about it, from magazine covers to social media filters, we're constantly bombarded with images of perfection. And here's where it gets tricky. On one hand, beauty treatments can help us feel like we're meeting those expectations. On the other hand, it can lead to a cycle of chasing ideals that are often unattainable or even unrealistic. That's where the idea of self-care rituals comes in. For many, beauty treatments aren't just about the outcome, they're about the process. The act of taking time for yourself, whether it's luxurious spa day or even just doing a face mask at home, can be incredibly calming and meditative. Those moments are like little acts of self-love. They remind us that we are worth the effort, that we deserve to feel good, not just for others, but for ourselves. And sometimes, looking good can even help us feel stronger in tough situations. Boosting resilience is a real thing. When life feels chaotic, putting yourself together can act like armor. It gives you that extra push to face the world head-on. Beauty treatments hold a unique place in our lives, often becoming part of how we celebrate important milestones. A special hairstyle for your wedding, a professional makeover to mark a big birthday. These rituals go beyond appearance. They're about embracing transitions, honoring personal growth, and stepping into life's significant moments, feeling your absolute best. Beauty treatments in this context are not just about how we look. They reflect our desire to celebrate who we are and where we're going. But it's important to acknowledge that there is another side to this story. The pressure to look perfect can take a toll on our mental well-being. For some, the pursuit of perfection through endless beauty treatments can become overwhelming and even harmful. What starts as a way to enhance confidence can in some cases turn into compulsion to constantly change. When we rely on these treatments to mask deeper insecurities or fill emotional voids, it often creates a cycle that's hard to escape. Instead of feeling fulfilled, we are left wanting more, striving for a version of ourselves that might not even exist. That's why today we're speaking with Dr. Rakib, a renowned expert in aesthetic wellness. Dr. Rakib is a Melbourne-based cosmetic doctor with over 10 years of medical experience. He completed his fellowship with the Australasian College of Cosmetic Surgery and Medicine and trains doctors and nurses in advanced injectable treatments. Balancing his life for emergency medicine with his passion for aesthetics, Dr. Rakib spends most of his time running his own aesthetic clinic. He views cosmetic treatments as a unique blend of art and medicine, finding immense reward in helping clients feel happier and more confident. We're so thrilled to have him with us today to share his insights and expertise. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Rakib.
Thank you, Veronica. Thanks for having me.
So, Dr. Rakib, do you find that patients' goals are more about external beauty or internal confidence?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think in general, we want to look the best version of ourselves. So that's where the external beauty comes in. But deep inside, we want to feel well. So you want to feel confident, you want to feel the best version every day you wake up in the morning. So there is a link between the external appearance and the inner self-confidence. So I would say majority of my patient who comes to the clinic, they just want to feel confident in whatever aspects of life they're doing, whether it's for a job, whether it's for social events. It's always trying to feel great within themselves. But sometimes what happens is you focus on the external appearance so much, you forget about your, your inner self. You don't know what you want. I have, examples of patients who comes to see me and, they look gorgeous, they look beautiful, they have natural features. And I tell them you don't need any work. But their comment is every time they see them in the mirror, they're not happy. So there's no link between that external appearance and their inner self. So it's very important to establish that.
Yeah, and where do you think that comes from, that perception of self, that I'm not good enough, I need more treatments, even the people look from outside gorgeous?
Yeah, exactly. I think, if you look at 10, 15 years ago, we did not have a lot of these external influencers and, social media and celebrities. I think with the advancement in technology, filters that we have, people want to look better and better. It's almost like you're never going to be happy just the way you look. So I think there should be a line as to when you should say, stop these treatments or just maintain these treatments, because you just want to look natural. You just want to look the best version. And that's what I tell them. So every time they come to the clinic, I do a thorough medical consult and an aesthetic consult, because I need to understand what they're thinking, what's their needs. And I can always say no if they don't need a treatment.
Yeah, so what's the underlying motivation for their treatment? So, and you do say, how often do you say no?
Look, most of my patients that comes in, they're coming for the right reason. They always say, look, I have a wedding coming up, or, I feel a bit aged, I look a bit tired. And these are the reasons why I try to address with my treatments. If I see someone in their younger age, someone in the 18 or 19, they already have good features. They already have good sort of facial features, and they don't need to tweak a lot. So that's where I try to sort of stand between doing a treatment for the right reason and not doing it.
We'll be back after this quick break. Can you share with us some examples, probably, how injectables improved someone's self-esteem or overall happiness?
I think when patients are coming into the clinic, they're trying to address a particular concern. I have lots of examples of patients where they're coming in for, for example, under eye treatments. It's one of those areas that can make you look tired. You may not feel tired, but the appearance is such that people are saying, oh, you look tired. Have you had a good sleep? Or something along that line. So, you could do treatments very naturally with injectable treatments. And if it is done right, it gives you a very refreshed look. And that's what I'm always aiming for. It's not about how much you put in terms of these injectable products. It's about using small amounts in a natural way. So under eye is a very common area. So I've seen lots of patients who get this refreshed look. They feel better about themselves, and they're going out and about, do their normal day-to-day work. One of the other examples would be a lower face treatment. So when I do my lower face, I'm looking at the jawline, the chin, and from a front and a side profile, you want to make sure that they're balanced and they look subtle and natural. So you could sculpt the jawline and the chin, and you can have a profound impact on the overall facial structure. And again, that's just helping them with their inner self, boosting their confidence, just the way they feel, about their normal days. Like, for example, I had a patient, she always used to hide her hair on the side because she didn't like her side profile. But when she came to me and I've sort of sculpted her jawline, and she said, you know what, I had a haircut just the way I wanted it, and I'm feeling more better about myself. So there you go. It makes me feel good because they're happy, and that's what I want.
How important is this to know the anatomy of the face? Because when you say about, different treatments for different people, and there are so many different courses, it's like some the injectable, I guess, practitioners, popping up here and there all the time. How important is it to actually know and have in-depth knowledge of anatomy?
100%. I mean, if you look at the Australian market, we have lots of clinics that are performing cosmetic treatments. But, as great as it looks with all the, improving appearance, improving confidence, you also need to understand that these treatments can come with some negative effects, So first of all, whoever performs these treatments, whether it's a cosmetic doctor or a nurse, they need to be well versed with the facial structure. So we generally have few layers in our face. We have the skin, we have some fat pads, which are basically fat cushions that you'd see in a baby and young adults. It looks nice and plump. And as you age, those fat pads shrink. And that's where the injectable treatments come in. And lastly, you need to understand the aging process. You're losing bone structures. You're getting these fat pits smaller and it's shrinking. So understanding the anatomy is very important. There are blood vessels as well in different parts of the face that you don't want to inject. So having a good knowledge of anatomy is crucial. Not only that, every ethnicity, every background is different facial features. Okay. So you need to respect that. And most of the treatments would be along the line of enhancing their structure, not changing them. So that's the idea.
Okay, and then I think we touched base on balancing and enhancing natural beauty with maintaining authenticity for your patients. We touched base on that, and I believe that's your approach.
Yes, that's it. I think you have to be honest in this industry. There is, it's almost a black and white industry. It's almost where you want to make sure that, if they need a treatment, it has to be justified. Yeah. So everyone has good natural features, and what we're doing is just enhancing, tweaking slightly, just to make sure that their features stand out nicer. We're not trying to change someone's face. We're not trying to change someone's structure as such. So,
because there are cases, I know people say, some women start to look very similar because of so many over treating themselves.
Yeah.
To look very, very identical.
Exactly. I mean, I think recently I was seeing this image. It was a picture, a before and after picture in a clinic in Turkey. So the mother almost looked 20 years younger, and it just wasn't true. Yeah. It's just not possible medically, no matter what treatments we do. Yeah. So, you have to be honest. I think patients like you to be honest, so they're not getting into the wrong treatments. Sometimes you get these clients who are coming in, they just keep getting treatments after treatments. They're coming every 6 months, every 8 months. That tells me that they're not happy with themselves. So we have to be able to limit that. We have to be able to say, you look great. And at times they may need some help. Yeah.
Well, that was very engaging conversation.
Yeah.
So Dr. Rakib, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise. Your insights into the balance between aesthetics and well-being have been truly inspiring and thought-provoking. We appreciate the work you do to help people feel confident and empowered. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Veronica. Thanks for having us.
Our next guest, Melissa, a high-performance executive coach and human behavior specialist. She